The fuck did you just say, Seth?
We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. If you want rule, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
How is everyone doing? This is Anthony from the Delusionals podcast with Sal. What is going on? What is up? I did not take cocaine. So Sal, this is the middle of a Tuesday afternoon. We're recording this, and we just wanted to say thank you for listening, because we usually don't say that. We usually start off that way because we're ungrateful, and we just want to give you the meat of the politics that we're trying to convey, and you receive it, and we appreciate you. We just launched our Patreon page, and hopefully you guys subscribe, or you guys just leave us a review on ratethispodcast.com/delusions. And no, this is not a read. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was also going to say, I want to give a quick shout out to the 3 patrons that have already pledged. My lovely fiance, Giselle Ramillette, Will Pruden, and Kyle Turnbull. Thank you guys very much.
I feel great. I'm just feeling great out here. Actually, I should feel down. I had, when I was on the train, I read about the news about the Green Party. This is the 3rd state that they've successfully taken off the Green Party off the ballot in Wisconsin, Texas, and Montana. And it really shows what we've been saying throughout the first 10 episodes is that we completely reject the politics of a Democratic Party, because it's outright, if not crypto-fascism, inverted totalitarianism, anything that doesn't represent true democracy or true anything, really, because if you're just going to eliminate a whole party from voting, you're just disenfranchising people. And it kind of weakens your whole, hey, Trump is a fascist, we need to get rid of him. About 2 million Green Party voters voted in 2016. So 2 million people could rightfully say, at least Trump did not take away at least in Texas, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, at least they could say, Trump didn't take my ability to vote, or the choice for me to vote. So I don't know what you guys are talking about. What do you think?
I think it's also, it further disillusions liberals, I think. Jill Stein won Wisconsin, or I don't know if she won Wisconsin, but she gained, I don't know about that, but she gained 10,000 more votes than Trump in Wisconsin. I think she had 31 to his 22. And, we've seen liberals blame the Green Party for Clinton's loss, and we've seen them preemptively blame Bernie for the eventual victory of Trump, for the eventual victory of Trump in 2020. And this is something that hasn't even happened yet. So it's just you want to shift blame, and you're creating the exact conditions that make people not want to vote for you in the first place. You are literally enacting the same things that make people want to vote third party in the first place. And then when people do it, you're going to finger wag and tell them that it's their fault that Trump is in power. And in reality, it's not the case. And like you said, it's like inverse totalitarianism or crypto fascism, and it's just you guys are also the same party that are trying to make Joe Biden cool to young children and refuse to talk policy. I do not know any person that wants to vote for Biden based on policy. I really don't. And I've asked. I've tried. So I think it's disgusting.
I mean, hopefully they made a concerted calculation that the Green Party voters that they're pissing off, that the ones that won't notice that their candidate is on the ballot. It's these people didn't accidentally. This is not a administrative error that they chose to be in the Green Party. They actually made a willing decision to make it. So they actually make the investment of following politics, and they're going to notice this. And what do you think they're going to do? They actually might vote for Trump. Some of them, if you think that like there's not spiteful people out there or reactionary people out there, they will do that. So, and to what end? For Joe Biden to be maybe president, considering that all the big leads that he has are slowly closing in on him. Like, this is not something that you should actually play with when your whole messaging is that, hey, there's fascism and democracy on the ballot. And to say that like the Green Party members would have voted Hillary Clinton instead of their own for Joe Stein if she wasn't on the ballot is like it's like fanciful thinking. Like, why? Like, obviously Hillary Clinton's politics doesn't line up with theirs. That's like asking like me to say, yo, you want to vote for Ted Cruz, Anthony? Why would I do that? Like, oh. It's Ted Cruz or Mike Bloomberg. I'll be like, okay, I just won't vote. Like, I
want to see Ted Cruz versus Mike Bloomberg.
Especially like you need to treat these voters with like I wouldn't say certain care, but like you're asking them a lot to jeopardize their life by staying online and waiting online to vote, or you're asking them a lot to like get the right postage and the right papers to fill out to vote and register and all that. So I'm like, are you sure?
There's so much stupid shit that's going on in this election cycle, and I think you can even, if we really want to get PTSD, we can think about what happened during the primaries, and since kind of the beginning of this campaign cycle, yeah, like I said, it's been really fucking stupid, and like I think it gets understated how right now with the pandemic, like to go out and vote is putting your lives at risk. And it's weird to me that at the time that the whole Democratic base was up in arms about the post office, I don't think any of them did anything. I'm pretty sure it's been like a bipartisan effort to kind of privatize the post office. I think Obama put in somebody, I don't remember his name, but he put somebody
he was nominating Republican Party members to the board of, I think the some board that controls the UPS operationally and just.
Postmaster General Patrick Donahoe has responded with a series of cost-cutting proposals, among them eliminating Saturday delivery and closing up to 3,700 local post offices, most of them in small towns, replacing them with automated centers operating out of local businesses. Donahoe has also proposed laying off as many as 120,000 workers, nearly one-fifth of the agency's workforce, and pulling workers out of more expensive federal pension plans. Pre-funding retiree benefits has cost the Postal Service $21 billion in the last 3 years. All those moves would require congressional approval.
Bernie Sanders blocked that nomination, actually. He voted against it. Sorry. I think it's funny to see that we've seen mass hysteria over the UPS and possible fraud from Donald Trump, who has, for the past 4 years, incited baseless conspiracies, and he pretty much campaigned off of rigged elections and voter fraud. He's still doing that today. And like, it's kind of funny to see that. And then the Democrats, it's like, all you need to do is not look like a hypocrite. And here you are removing the Green Party off of the ballot. You know how easy it is for Donald Trump to attack that and pick that apart? It's so easy. Like, this is, in my opinion, this is Donald Trump's election to lose now. It's like they're making it so easy for him he can open his mouth and anything is a valid critique of the Democratic Party. It's insane. They chose Joe Biden. They fucked over Bernie during the primaries. They didn't want to pause the primaries because of the pandemic. They wanted to keep it going despite Bernie Sanders. I think they tried to accuse Bernie Sanders of a fraud or some shit like that by saying that we should pause the primaries. And it's just like, these people don't care about you. They don't care about the working class. They don't care about anyone. I don't know. I don't even know what they care about. I'll be honest with you. But like, they're such a shitty fucking
Well,
party. And it's crazy the amount of stupidity they have and the balls that they have to remove the Green Party from the ballot. By the way, I am not voting Green Party, but like, I acknowledge that that's a choice that some people have. That's voting is a right. And we also, our politicians make people take that for granted. Like, it's your fucking right. Nobody should shame you for voting a certain way.
Why aren't you voting Green Party?
I just don't, I don't feel motivated to.
I mean, their politics is safe to say.
No, it is my politics, but it's like,
I mean,
I mean, I don't know. It just doesn't feel. It doesn't feel impactful.
I mean, because it's a slow build. It's that, again, I've said it many times on this podcast, that if we reach about 7 million Green Party voters, that we actually get federal matching funds with the Republican and Democratic Party. We just have to reach 5%. And the closest person to do that is Ralph Nader. And if we had if we build from that instead of, well, 9/11 obviously contributed to like the whole hysteria of the 2004 election, but if we actually continue to build off that, I think we would have had a more viable party. They would have had a more viable party where it could be taken seriously. And I'm not just going to I'm just not going to vote, especially when a third party needs more legitimacy. So we can't really bitch about the Republican and Democratic Party and just be like, not vote and not. Like, it's not.
It is counterproductive.
It's our party. We just don't want to work on it. I feel that.
I've just been from watching the primaries unfold and seeing the Democratic base, the Democratic Party, kind of spit in the face of the voters from 2016 onward. I've kind of just been discouraged to even participate, but that's mostly because I live in New York. But I probably will end up voting for the Green Party. But and I can't wait to get blamed for when Trump wins. Biden's not polling that much better than Trump either. He's maybe up by like 1 or 2 points, which doesn't really indicate.
Well, national
anything.
polling is just the popular vote, so no one should ever look at that because it's just a series of 50 elections. Right. So don't. And if you do listen to the show and you are in a swing district, just don't vote. Just don't vote. Don't do the moral equivalent of basically making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's like
you and I talk. You and I talk in length about this, but I don't think we've ever gone over it on the show about why you feel like you've said something that I thought was very interesting, and that we can't beat someone like Trump with someone like Biden. And now that I'm seeing all this stuff unfold, I'm starting to see why you say that. But why are you so opposed for people to vote for Biden?
Because it's like everything we've heard for the last 4 years that we characterize Trump as, Biden is. Yeah, so everything that we characterize Trump as for the last 4 years, Biden is. But he has like this whole like layer of legitimacy that being in Washington for 40 years has. So like, if you were to say that Trump is a fascist, what would you say about a person who wrote the 1994 crime bill? Isn't like the core tenets of fascism about jailing people for like very discriminant things like marijuana? So and again, something that he won't legalize. Neither will Trump. So I'm like, if you look at the real policy difference, there's no moral superiority that Biden has, from economically, from healthcare, from civil rights, from everything. So this whole it's an exercise in futility to just vote for someone you think that's going to like give you some moral, what's endorphins in your brain and in your heart, like we beat Trump and now we could toil in like in the hell that Joe Biden is going to give us for like the next 4 years to set up someone like Kamala Harris or Pete Buttigieg. It's a fate worse than death, really.
I think you don't have to say that. I know. I would have preferred beat Buttigieg. I would have preferred Pete over Joe, honestly. Like Joe Biden, there's nothing about Joe Biden that moves me.
But Pete Buttigieg is actually what Joe Biden wants to be. Like, Joe Biden was actually a failure at University of Delaware. Like, he was like he got caught plagiarizing like 3 times.
3 weeks ago at a debate at the Iowa State Fair, he used phrases identical to those delivered by British Labour Party leader Neil Kinnock.
Biden seemed to be claiming Kinnock's vision and life as his own.
Why is it that my wife, who's sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college?
Why is Gladys the first woman in her family in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
My ancestors who worked in the coal mines in northeast Pennsylvania don't come up after 12 hours and play football.
8 hours underground and then come up and play football.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
There was no platform upon which they could stand.
The notion that every thought or notion or idea you'd have to go back and find and attribute to someone, I think is, quite frankly, ludicrous.
The problem here is that Senator Biden told his audience he'd just been thinking about these things, and he failed to give any credit at all to his famous British speechwriter.
You know, I was thinking on the way over here. Now that's a little too much, because, as you point out, what's behind the words? What's there? And a lot of people, the rap on Biden has always been that it's just a surface.
I should have said, to paraphrase Neil Kinnock.
2, he said that he was like one of the top ranked like students in his class, and like he was actually like the 3rd from last. Like, so this is Trump. Like, people don't know these things, and they obviously, with Trump, like, they know his record at University of Penn and all that, and they make fun of him. But if you were to know that Joe Biden suffers from the same exact thing, like, come on.
That's what fascinates me. There's not too much difference between them. Even their current campaign seems to be who is more conservative, who is the true conservative between us. Like, Joe Biden's campaign right now is pretty much saying Trump wants to defund the police. It's like, what? Like, everything that Biden is saying Trump wants to do is just like, and then Trump is saying everything that Biden wants to do. They're both just not what either one wants to do in reality. But it's like they're trying to debate on who is more centered or more Republican. It's so fucking bizarre. And like, I just haven't seen anyone say anything that they want from Biden policy-wise. That everybody's been saying, well, we can vote for him and hold his feet to the fire. Maybe he'll have a more progressive camp, sure. But what good is that?
He won't. Well, funny enough, Bernie leaked his own like critique of Biden to the Washington Post, and then later denied it on TV that it was actually him. Like, he has like critiques, which is so about Bernie. And I'm like, there's no
what XOXO gossip girl. What's Bernie doing right now?
Bernie, I actually, like, for a man who just turned 78, I don't understand what his exact a role in this? Like, what are you? I mean, what are you saving your bullets for exactly? Like, okay, you're part of like Democratic Senate leadership, cool, and there's obviously a Faustian bargain behind that, but it's like closing time is almost like here. Like, what are we gonna buy with this? Like, he campaigned for Bill Clinton before NAFTA and after NAFTA. He campaigned for Hillary. He campaigned for Biden. Okay, what is that? All that goodwill get us now?
I don't know, man. It's weird because the discourse around Bernie for 2016 was that discourse around Bernie, I think when he announced his run, was that he is ornery and like unwilling to negotiate and work with people, which is weird because he worked with John McCain to pass the veteran bill. I don't remember the name of it, but he worked with Cuomo to fucking pass like free tuition for like city colleges and shit in New York. I mean, it wasn't the best deal, but it's still pretty good considering. I think he helped push the national minimum wage to $15. It's just like he's been pretty effective, and he's pretty cooperative, and he's shown that he's willing to build a coalition with establishment Democrats if that's what it comes to. So it's kind of weird that.
Yeah, but they haven't been reciprocating anything with.
That's what I'm saying. They don't give him anything, and he still has to hear in the media that he is this aggressive, uncooperative old man, and it's weird because he's not. He's been the entire opposite of that pretty much his entire career, and it's weird to a fault.
Yeah.
And we see that in this cycle. I mean, it's interesting that he's leaking this stuff about Biden when he told Zephyr Teachout to not to rescind that article about Biden wanting to cut Social Security. It's a little strange that I don't know what's going on in his head either. I mean, I think it's the urgency of getting Trump out of office, which I'll be honest with you, I understand, but it's just weird that this is what it's coming to. It's very strange.
I mean, what's the point of having like good policy and being a good person and having like good morals if you're not gonna like fight for it, or if you're not gonna like burn down the village of Washington D.C. and like at the risk of being co-opted every single time, you have to like always play on their ground, by their rules. Like, I'm pretty sure this is going to be his last or next to last like Senate run. So empty it out, Bernie.
I have reservations about that because I mean, it's so you have older revolutionary figures, speakers, or thinkers that have contributed a lot to the leftist movement and leftist politics and everything like that. But you have to remember, at the end of the day, these are still people. They're human, and they're getting older, and they're tired. And I mean, there's something to be said about that. That we like, it's possible for them to be getting beaten down. And at this point, what are your options? You know, he's a 78-year-old man. He's not getting any younger. What's he gonna do? Fight to the death? Yeah, probably. But like, where's that gonna get him? What can he, as a 70-something-year-old man, what can he realistically do as an elected official? And like, he is...
Bernie Sanders is one of the most 100, probably the top 50 most powerful people in the world.
I mean, I don't know about that. I don't know if he's most powerful people in the world.
Yeah.
I think you're fucking bugging. I think that he, like... it doesn't mean anything because it. I mean,
so, if we're not counting the deep state in each country, or the universal deep state, I'm talking about on paper, he should be
but he's not
top 50
because there's no top 50 in the world. All right, well, that argument aside, he still couldn't. You know, there's still positives to this. He's a Democrat. He's an openly democratic socialist president who got second place. That's not. That's
That doesn't mean.
But it does mean something in that you're pushing the needle forward. I mean, like, does it mean the next person to be elected president is going to be a socialist? No. But what I'm trying to say is that when you have someone like that who's a revolutionary figure, or maybe not a revolutionary figure, but is, you know, an independent, he's one of a kind, and he's been fighting for how many years? Of course he's going to get tired.
So why didn't he run as an independent in 2016 or this year?
Why does it matter? He didn't run for that this year because the stakes are too high.
But the stakes are always. Do you understand that after November 3rd, November 4th, the stakes are high. November 5th, the stakes are high. November 6th, the stakes are always high. You're just arbitrarily saying that this election makes the stakes. There's no higher stakes than if Bernie Sanders went against Biden and Trump. I think he'd win.
I think so too, but I'm trying to say is that you're asking someone who's this old and has been fighting for this long
then
to go against. Okay. But look at the uphill battle that he's had for so long. I'm not saying that he's above criticism. I'm not saying to forgive him. All I'm saying is that at some point we have to humanize these people and realize like they are human, therefore they have weaknesses. He's fucking old and tired. He had literally everything against him. The only thing that he had was the support of the working class, and it got him pretty far. He didn't fight as hard as he should. I've been saying that too, but it doesn't take away from the fact that he's fucking 87 years old and he's fucking tired of fighting. Probably he's gonna take. It's like he is still a career politician, and that's what that shit is though. Like that even. Like Vladimir Lenin states, you know, the electorate, that's a plaything of the bourgeoisie. Like that's not, and it's true. Like, but it's not up to us.
That kind of sounds like excuse making, because if he would have won the presidency, that's not exactly a game of like dominoes. So it's like the stress was going to be on him anyway. And so so if he died, so it's okay to die as a president, but not as a senator, or
no, that's
as
not
a senator
my point.
Trying to fight the establishment.
My point is that listen, I agree. He fought. He didn't fight hard enough. I agree, 100%.
There's still more fighting.
What's up?
There's a lot more fighting.
And
this is a conscious decision. Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is, this is somebody who has been effective outside of the presidency, right? I agree. He didn't fight hard enough. I agree. But when you look at the situation that we're in, the pandemic, all of that other shit, when you look at the fact that he's been fighting for years, when you look at the fact that a lot of people are framing this election as like the last election of the American empire, and he sees how fucking hard of a battle he has against the entire DNC and the media and everything like that, and it's easier for him to just join Biden. I mean, I'm not saying it's a good
That's
thing.
A selfish choice. That's a selfish choice. That's a
no. I agree. Choice. I agree with you. I do. I think so too. But I'm just trying to say that you can't just sit here and like, it doesn't do any good to just bash him for it. You have to kind of sit here and think like, this man's fucking 90 years old. He's probably just fucking tired.
I understand why he did it. I don't like why he did it, but I'm still not going to like. I'm still not going to forget that that he was so like he co-signed Biden and he didn't really attack him, and he asked working people for money and donation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like.
That's true. It's fair. I mean, it's true.
You're like, I expected like, because again, if they're stabbing you in the back, and you're still trying to like hold them off. Like there was one time when Obama was like, "Yo, I am the reason why the people haven't like knocked down your company off," and the fact that he knew that he had that power and didn't utilize it for our means, for his whole life goals of being a socialist.
Yeah.
That's
kind of what makes this whole election cycle so disgusting, though, don't you think?
I mean, the most disgusting thing about this election cycle is that regular, everyday working people are just enforcing hegemony, and that's just right, did you see that my Twitter thread where the guy said that Edward Snowden should have gone to prison because what he did was strictly illegal? And I'm like, so you're trying to say that the person who notified you that your Fourth Amendment rights were being violated, he deserves to go to prison, but the people who actually violated them, who actually make up the rules of the law, should not go to prison? And he said yes. And which is to me, it's like, there's actually some people who are down for the fascism, who out loud they won't say it, but they're down for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's something that I've been saying it. The thing that liberals hate the most about Trump is that he doesn't hide anything. He's very out in the open, and it's very hard to pretend that this country is the country that it is with someone like him in office. He's not that much different from any other American president. I think he's tried to strip away a lot of rights, and he's succeeded in some cases. He hasn't in others. But a lot of the stuff that's happening isn't really new under him. And yeah, I think personally,
maybe the hysterectomy.
We're gonna get into that in a second. I'm not 100% sure if that's something that's new either, but I hope it's new. No, it's not. I'm pretty sure it's not. I think there's been other cases in American history where stuff like that has happened. But anyway, I'm going to get into that in a second. But yeah, someone like Donald Trump offends the sensibilities of liberals because, again, it's so hard to ignore the fact that the crimes he commits and the atrocities that he spouts and everything like that, it's hard to believe that this is new, but it's not. I mean, it's just disguised. And when it's disguised, you can lie for it. Right now, you really can't. And that's what kind of irritates me entirely about this whole election cycle. It's like if you're a liberal and you're vote shaming, if you're seriously advocating for Biden, Kamala, if you're, seriously against Bernie Sanders, you have been complicit in enforcing this right-wing hegemony in America to kind of just, thrive and prosper. And it's really not fair, because if you look at everything that's happened during this election cycle, at every turn, Bernie was advocating for the rights of the working class people, which makes it even kind of more insulting that he decided to defend Joe Biden. It's grotesque in my opinion. It's very selfish also, but I can't really tell if there was some kind of weird strategy with that, or did he think that he was going to fucking lose anyway? I don't really know, but it is stupid and it's gross. And the fact that there is such outrage over there's such outrage over a possible Trump dictatorship and him removing the ballots and not wanting to concede victory and everything like that. And then the Democrats go ahead and remove the Green Party from ballots. It's just you guys aren't mad that Trump is in office. You guys are mad now that you have to fucking work harder to hide all the secret shit that you do, all the bullshit that you do, because he kind of exposed everything. He made people pay more attention to it. And it's insane to me. They have, like you said 20 minutes ago, it's crypto fascism. It's something. It's not fucking cool.
Actually, Pew Research came out that 63% of Democratic voters think that if Joe Biden loses, it will be because of foreign intervention or voter suppression. Which is funny because nearly everyone in the Democratic Party takes AIPAC money, and there was a report on Business Insider last year that not Russia, But the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Israel are the most influential foreign countries who really meddle in the election, not change votes or do any spear phishing. I'm talking about actual like donate money, where all this money comes from through campaign donations. It comes from Saudi Arabia.
Smearing critiques of Israel as anti-Semitic. I mean, that's a good way to make people feel ashamed for even thinking about being pro-Palestine.
So
it's also there's been so. Oh man, what a doozy! Obama promising all they worked harder to stop Bernie, Obama and Clinton than they did to stop Trump. They've been more vocal about being anti-Bernie than anti-Trump, and that should tell you something. And the fact that it doesn't by now, you're fucking delusional. But
in the worst way, not the best way. Not like
yeah,
this. We're cool.
We're cool delusional. You're stupid delusional. So I want to talk about these mass hysterectomies. So the story broke in a bunch of articles. It's in The Intercept, Vice News. A whistleblower who honestly, I was kind of surprised that with what she was revealing, that she has her identity out in the open. Like, that was the first thing I noticed. Like, I was kind of scared because she's talking about the health procedure. Don Wooten, she's talking about the health procedures in detention facilities, and we've seen Trump allegedly had U.S. Marshals come in to kill protester Michael Ronall. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but there was a Portland protester that shot I believe he was a MAGA guy or Proud Boy. I'm not really sure. I don't know the specifics of the altercation, but Trump allegedly ordered a hit. That's what people are saying. He got the air marshals involved. The guy was killed extrajudiciously. So it's scary to me that this person came out for against the detention facility, but she basically is reporting. It's really grotesque stuff. I mean, just the lack of PPE, the lack of proper safety protocol, and women reporting that they were getting hysterectomies done, and sometimes they were getting ovaries removed, and the doctor would say like, "Oh, I removed the wrong ovary, so here, remove another ovary." And this apparently has happened to a few women in these facilities. And this is on top of being poorly maintained for COVID, to protect people for COVID. And in May, I'm not sure if I got that date right. I believe it was in May, but they came forward to Congress. They wrote a letter to Congress, the members of the staff there. Dawn Wooten is a nurse at this facility. She came forward with a bunch of staff and wrote a letter to Congress about the conditions of the facility. This is at LaSalle. It's a private correction facility, and her CEO was basically like, "Yeah, no, everything is fine. I don't know what they're talking about." But in that same month that he responded, 2 of his own security guards died of COVID. So it's like. And to kind of talk about to circle back to the enabling fascism, one thing that I thought was particularly gross about this was Louis Mensch. I don't know what the fuck she's famous for. I know she's British, and that's really all I know about her. I know she says some wild shit from time to time, but Twitter, oh man, like, so she said basically that she doesn't believe the hysteria around this report. And
the hysteria behind the hysterectomy.
Yeah, she doesn't believe.
Stupid
ass. She doesn't believe it, and she basically uploaded videos of Dawn Wooten in church and was just like, "This woman's religious. How can we believe her?" Which is kind of fucking gross, because it's like, let's say even if these hysterectomies weren't happening, like, this woman is looking for proof that these hysterectomies didn't happen, and it's like, even if they didn't, that doesn't change the fact that people in these detention facilities you're completely ignoring the other millions of inhumane conditions that they're living under. Solitary confinement, while having COVID, not getting tested for COVID, refusal to test them for COVID, refusal to use the COVID machines. They're using insufficient forms of testing. They're ignoring complaints. They're just kind of left to rot in these cells, and you're sitting here like, I'm not sure if these hysterectomies are happening. It's the way that liberals, enable fascism comes in very weird ways, and this is one of them. And it's like, you're talking about a country in which black people, especially women, experience healthcare, like they experience a really disparaging lack of healthcare and medical care, everything, and they die at disproportionate rates. And it's so fucking grotesque to see. How do you see a story like this and say, well, I don't think the hysterectomies are happening, but it's like, so everything else is fucking okay? Like, why?
What's really weird is that we have the funding to give migrant people hysterectomies, but we can't give them food, shelter, and any other. This is a very, very like race sciencey, race nationalism, nationalistic science. Yeah, there's something like Auschwitz-y about this. I really don't know a better word to describe it. And right. I really don't want to speak about this because there's something I like as a civil rights advocate and civil liberties advocate. Like, what does I don't even think that the women are like voluntarily signing up for this. Like, why do you need? And like, what is the function of it? Like, why do you need these women without ovaries? Like, are they having commune? Like, are they having sex in these like ICE communes? Like, are they staying in these ICE communes long enough to actually like find someone to like mate with, like in such hard conditions? Like, that's pretty hard. That means like you've adjusted to your surroundings and accepted it enough to where like, hey, I'm gonna start a relationship here or I'm just going to start pleasuring myself here with someone else because I'm in ICE. Like, I really don't understand this story. Like, I'm reading through it right now. Not really. It's insane. I'm literally speechless.
I mean, this isn't something that's brand new to this country either. I mean, there's been, race science has been a thing in this country. Scientists have experimented on slaves before, without anesthesia. It's not really properly done, and that's what's kind of happening now. And it's crazy because something like this it's just, you think of all the shit that you've been reading about ICE lately, and like a lot of the propaganda around it, and how they're trying to say that they've been around since, I saw a video that said that they've been around since like the 1700s, since the start of the American Revolution or some shit. And it's funny because in that video they're just like, they don't actually say anything about ICE. They just say like, immigrants came from Ellis Island and there was a Treasury Department that made sure they were taxed and accounted for. And it's just like, that's not ICE. That is not ICE. ICE started in 2003 as part of the DHS. So it's a lot of weird propaganda around ICE itself, but it just, every story that we hear, just migrant children being locked in cages, separated from families, fucking, apparently there's reports of sexual assault in some facilities. It's truly just disgusting shit.
And to put it for full circle, last summer when AOC said that voting for ICE is like voting for concentration camps, and she and the squad refused to fund DHS again, it actually started a big beef between them and Democratic leadership. And you can't really say that the Democrats are like these champions of like immigrant rights when obviously the history of Barack Obama and Joe Biden. But even right now, they don't look to like amend anything that Donald Trump is doing and all the projects that he want to do, even down to hysterectomies. And I'm reading the Intercept article, and I'm not seeing that this is anything new, which is that just takes the cake for me. Because I'm imagining if Barack Obama did this on a grander scale than Donald Trump, that's more hysterectomies than Donald Trump, and that's just like, yeah. I sincerely hope that I'm definitely gonna follow up on this topic, but I sincerely hope that this is actually like the precedent, not the trend.
It's crazy. I mean, it's honestly it's looking like this is the trend. I mean, this is something that even doctors have experimented on slaves, like I've said, and
I'm talking about more. I'm not. I know historically this has happened, but I'm talking about just as recently as the last Democratic president who's supposed to, like, Jesus Christ.
You know, like, what's even kind of fucking. I'm just gonna read it for you. So I had quite a morning on Twitter. I woke up to Li Fang saying that Nazis weren't real. Basically, he said that the left made up white supremacy in the same way that the right made up QAnon. I mean, fucking, well, I don't know. And then People for Bernie tweeted out, "Our system is so inherently patriarchal, they didn't even think to perform safe and largely reversible vasectomies."
They said what?
Right? They said, "Our system is so inherently patriarchal, they didn't even think to perform safe and largely reversible vasectomies."
Is that a joke? Or I think they meant it as a joke.
And then they said, "To be clear, this was with regard to ICE's hysterectomies."
They weren't joking.
They're I don't know what the point of that post was. Was it for them to say that it's a shame they're not ripping dicks off too? Like, I don't get it. I don't get what they were trying to say. It's like
People for Bernie has been acting. That Twitter account has been very weird lately.
It has. It's been very strange.
And considering that, like, even Bernie doesn't even really look into identitarian politics, it's just like this tweet about fucking healthcare, and you just do that, man. Just don't try to be the clapback queen or king.
Yeah, I really don't quite understand what the objective is behind that. It was a very weird fucking tweet.
Everybody has a job. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're fine people, but not everything. Like, I mean, that would have been a like really macabre joke.
I don't know if it's a joke. I
sincerely thought of. The fact that it's not a joke, that's distressing.
Yeah, I don't know. I think when it's disturbing because I myself am still trying to learn. It was just recently brought to my attention that Nazi Germany learned a lot from America. I was reading something about Teddy Roosevelt and conservationism and how he inspired, like how his conservation policies were pretty racist and how it inspired race science in other places. I really wish that I remembered where the article was from. There's different versions of it that I've seen. But when you combine that with reading stuff like this, mass hysterectomies, like it's terrifying, and I don't know, it just really makes you wonder what the fuck they're doing at ICE, and it's also what is going on with our leadership that like this is just fine, and nobody really seems to be talking about it. And like you said, this is something that causes a split from someone like Pelosi with the squad. Like this, it's disgusting. It's really disgusting. They just don't care about anyone. That's gross.
No, it doesn't really engender any like hope or real. It doesn't really activate you to go to any poll. But hopefully, I don't know. I don't know what the current strategy is for the left. I think we're what Chris Hedges says. We're in the wilderness right now. We're just watching, and we'd be lying to ourselves if we told ourselves that hey, there's nothing we can really do but watch it burn, and hopefully we'll be like opportunistic enough to like make it rise again from the ashes. That's honestly, it has to burn. It has the building has to burn down. We're not going to be the one who like put water on it. We're not going to be the ones who like put soot on it. We're not going to do anything of the sort. We're just going to be there when it burns down, because that's how, if you think about it, that's how the Russian Revolution, like, that's how it really started. It wasn't really, it was first the Tsar of Russia going down, and then they obviously had a war after that with it was the Red Army versus the White Army, and obviously the Red Army won, but it wasn't like a smooth transition of power. It took 12 years for the Bolsheviks to get in power. So
I'm actually reading about that right now. It is very chaotic and hard to keep up with. It was not. It's insanely chaotic.
So it's not. So we don't. We just have to be smarter, not try harder. Actually, edit that out.
I don't know. I mean, it's. I don't know, Anthony. What do you? You know, a lot of people. No. A lot of people are saying that this is the end of the American Empire, and I mean, I'm inclined to agree.
If anything, we'll just wrap it up and bring this show to Canada.
Neo-Nazi Canada.
And then we'll just talk. Yo, we can bring the movement anywhere, bro. That's a good thing about international socialism. Brought to you by Leon Trotsky.
Well, yeah, I mean, truly fucking psycho shit today, but
let's end on a happy note.
If you like hearing about more psycho shit, subscribe to our Patreon.
Yeah, and Sal, you're engaged, right?
Yeah, I am engaged.
That's honestly that's the happiest thing between the two of us that's gonna happen for a while.
So, it is it does make me very happy. I'm not gonna lie. I am very happy to see that ring on her finger, and she's very happy about it. So
we're gonna have to hold on to that for a long time. Long time. These are very dark orders, people.
I'll be engaged for everybody.
Have a great day. Have a great night. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, the Delusionals. I'm Anthony Bosco. I'm signing out. Booyah.
Have a good night, guys.